So much of what we've spoken about in this series has been about setting a solid foundation for not only getting started with WordPress, but also understanding what you're doing as well. In this final lesson, we're going to briefly revisit the 7 key steps that will help bring your project together so that by the end, you have a functioning website that is ready to roll. Hi, I'm Ryan, and thanks for joining us at the Learning Hub. If you've been with us from the beginning, let me start by saying well done. If you've been jumping around from video to video, then that's okay too, but let me encourage you to go back to the ones that you may have missed. Now, let's get down to business. To take your website from concept to completion, you know there are a number of steps that are necessary to help make your project a success. In this series, we've already looked at all of these steps in detail, so if you're looking for more, be sure to go back and check out the previous lessons. Okay, so the very first step is to define the structure of your site. Way back in lesson 6, we spoke about deciding on your website's page structure. Map it all out so that you can see all the pages you need and what the purpose of each page is. Using a flowchart of sorts will help you visualize this. Start with your homepage and then flow on from there. About, services, blog, contact, and whatever else you need. From there, take the time to outline different elements each page will be made up of, and then any specific functionality those pages should have. Once you have your site structure mapped out, we then need to sort out, number 2, our domain name and hosting. In lesson 7, we went right into purchasing your hosting and your domain name. Start by finding a hosting solution that suits your needs. Take the time to do your own research. Look for reviews and inclusions, especially what kind of support you get and how it rates. Consider the renewal period. You may save some money if you pay annually, but if you're not 100% sure what you're choosing will be adequate, opt for a shorter renewal period to begin with. As for your domain name, some hosting solutions will give you the option to also register your domain name with them, but ensure you're getting the one you really want. Services such as GoDaddy will give you a wide range of top-level domains, or TLDs, to choose from. Always look for something that is going to be short, sharp, and easy to remember. A lot of organizations these days will often opt to purchase a few domain names that closely represent their business name and offerings. You then select a primary domain name out of these and redirect the rest to this one. When purchasing your domain name, most registrars will give you the option to add domain privacy to your package. This is recommended as it helps keep your private information out of the public domain database. Now that we have our hosting and domain name sorted, we can now, number 3, install WordPress. Thankfully, most recommended hosting solutions that specialize in WordPress will either already have this done for you or give you a simple auto installer. If it's not already done for you, find the relevant installer and follow the on-screen instructions. This step is normally pretty straightforward. When WordPress is installed and we have our access, it's time to log in and get started. The 4th step is to create the key pages and elements of your site. This is where the outline we made in step 1 really helps us out. Go through and create each of the pages that we outlined. Don't worry about adding your page content at this point. You can go to town on this later. We're focused on setting up our key elements at this point. Once we have our pages, we can then add them to our main menu. Depending on the theme you choose or the structure you've decided on, you may find you have the need for secondary menus, possibly go in a sidebar or even in your footer. If you're aware of these, we can very easily add them here as well. We can, however, always come back and tweak as we need. From here, we want to head over to Settings, Reading, to tell our new website which of our pages will be used as our homepage and which page will be used to display our blog posts on. Once we've done this initial setup, we can then go in, number 5, find the perfect theme. Traditionally, the theme we choose will dictate a lot of how a website looks and feels. They include styling that controls the colors, layout, and other visual elements that make up our site. Many themes will also include additional functionality, and that can be an advantage if that's something you're looking for. More recently, however, with the rise of page builders and site builders, a lot of these things don't necessarily need to be included with your theme. Tools such as Elementor can take care of all of this for you and give you greater flexibility with how your website is laid out. This is primarily the reason Elementor developed the Hello theme. It's a lightweight, minimalist theme that allows you to take advantage of the flexibility that Elementor provides. Once we have our theme installed, we can then begin adding the functionality we require by number 6, installing the plugins we need. There are always going to be a bunch of plugins that we need that are essential to the success of our website. Things such as website security, contact forms, and even eventually things like SEO and site optimizations. There's nothing wrong with starting with free plugins. The key here is to ensure that they're reputable. Good ratings, reviews, recent updates, and compatibility are always going to be factors that determine whether you're choosing a plugin that will last the distance. From here, you begin to build out your pages by adding your content and ensuring each element plays a part and matches your brand. This leads us to our final step, number 7, finalizing your site. Check you have all the required plugins to launch your site. Each page is completed and all the links work correctly. Check all your menus include the pages you need them to. Check over your WordPress settings. Most of these, by the way, will be okay to leave as default to begin with. But from here, if your site is already set up in your live domain, you can then go through this final list of checks. Check that you're receiving email notifications from your contact forms. Check that your SSL certificate is installed for your live domain. Incorporate tools such as Google Analytics and Google Search Console to understand the traffic that your website begins to receive. Once you've signed off on all of these checklist items, you're ready to launch your site. Well done. It's time to pour yourself a celebratory drink, send an email and social media post to all your friends and colleagues and let the world know that your website is live. This really is just the beginning of this journey. There are countless things we can continue to do to grow and improve our websites, but this is the end of this series. I've loved being your host, so thank you for joining me. Together, we've looked at everything from the very basics of what WordPress is, how to set up your very own website, and provided you with a bunch of tools to kickstart your WordPress experience. I hope you've enjoyed each and every lesson and continue your exciting learning journey with WordPress. If you haven't, make sure you join Elemental's vibrant community and check out the Academy and blog. Stay tuned for future series.